Pittsburgh at Kansas City, brought to you by $2 Tuesday. Each and every Tuesday, we pick one capper and offer his best bet for just $2. Don't miss it each and every Tuesday at Wager Talk. Guys, this is going to be my video best bet. I'm not going to say who I'm going to have in this one yet, but we'll get to that in a moment. I'm going to kick it to you first. Preston, you've got two teams right now on opposite ends of the public perception. Pittsburgh at the bottom, coming off a horrible game against Jacksonville Jaguars, and Kansas City taking out all-world Deshaun Watson on national TV Sunday night.
What I want to know to start this off, you being the Pittsburgh Steelers guy, what are your thoughts on the reports? Either it was Sunday night or I think it was probably Monday night, the next day, about how Ben Roethlisberger's heart isn't in it anymore. He doesn't care. He's just playing because he owes the Steelers money for some reason, and it's part of like the back end of his contract, which I don't even know the details on that. I mean, does he look like he just doesn't care to you? Or is it just something else and that was just a story to get clicks?
Well, okay, that story would be there about the money coming back. It's true that if he would have retired this year, he would have had to give money back on the contract. But why didn't anybody break that story whenever he came back?
Well, because he threw 5 interceptions.
Yeah, now they're talking about it. But I will say this about Ben Roethlisberger. I love Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I'm a diehard Steeler fan. He is a freaking drama queen, okay? Yeah, he always has been, you know, and this is not the first season that he hinted at the end of the last season that I'm going to retire and this and that. He likes the attention. That's part of Ben. And then his comments after the game last week when he said, a reporter asked him about the 5 interceptions, and he says, maybe I just don't have it anymore. So now everybody's running with that. But I'll get into more about Ben and that. I'm going to kick it to you, Brian. You know the Steelers. You know I love them. But Kansas City right now, the stock can't be any higher on Kansas City than it is right now.
Yeah, but people aren't buying into the stock. There's still people out there that have New England as a better rated team than Kansas City.
I want what those people are smoking.
From the eye test, how can you do that? I mean, I understand it based on history and based on what's happened before, but this Pittsburgh team, we already talked about how Ben struggles on the road compared to being at home. I was really upset about the play calling for the Steelers last week. They played Jacksonville team, who's the best defensive against the pass, and they can't stop the run. Right. And what do the Steelers do? They give the ball to the quarterback and let him try to win for you. Ben said before the season started he was thinking about retiring. By watching him play, he doesn't have the same zip on the ball. I know you're a Steelers fan, but it's not the same. There's been all that turmoil, regardless if it's the running back came into cap late, it took him time to get going. Brown, the receiver, saying, give me the ball a little bit more. It's not a team I want to back right now. And keep in mind, Kansas City's playing with double revenge here. They lost 2 times to the Steelers last year, including in the playoffs. I got a feeling we're going to have a lunch bet on this one. I like Kansas City.
All right. Preston, how are you seeing this?
I mean, the numbers inflated, in my opinion. I'm with you. The perception's as high as can really be on Kansas City at this point. It's Pittsburgh or nothing.
Okay. Anybody that follows the Pittsburgh Steelers knows that the biggest game of the year, no matter what, is the Baltimore Ravens. And they went into Baltimore, beat the Ravens, knocked the snot out of the Ravens in that game, and then were returning home last week to play Jacksonville, who just lost to the New York Jets the week before. Now, granted, I know the Jets are 3-2, and there's not anybody sitting here that after week 5 would have remotely thought the Jets were going to be 3-2. So it was an embarrassing loss that Jacksonville was coming off of. Pittsburgh looked right past them. It is a sandwich game. You look ahead, they were coming off Baltimore, and they had Kansas City on deck. If you can't get any more of a sandwich spot than that, and all of the sharps in town were on Jacksonville. That game, that line pummeled on Sunday morning. It was down to 7 everywhere, and that game was up as high as 8.5 at places because a lot of the books were doing teaser protection, figuring Pittsburgh was, a team everybody was going to be teasing. I don't know if there's anybody alive in a survivor pool anywhere after. Last week you had all those short numbers. Pittsburgh was the only big number, and they lose outright.
It was 51% in my pool, actually, but it was on Steelers in that week.
This is a spot for the season. You're going to see the best game that you could possibly see out of Ben Roethlisberger. Now, Maybe it isn't what it used to be, but I still think it is going to be good enough to trade points with Kansas City in this one. Kansas City's look good, but if you've watched every game they've played, every team has moved the football on them. They're not getting in 17-13 low-scoring defensive battles. Teams are moving the football. Washington went up and down the field first half against them on Sunday night or Monday Night Football 2 weeks ago. They had an opportunity to put them away in that game and left them in the game, and Kansas City found a way to win it. Unfortunately, Andy Reid, his trademark of being conservative, keeps teams in games too often. I got to take Pittsburgh plus the points. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a homer, but the situation is this Kansas City team, in my opinion, the stock's too high on them right now. I got to take Pittsburgh in this one, and you alluded to the other factor. Yes, Pittsburgh's had a distraction, it seems like, every single week from the start of the season with Le'Veon Bell. Let's not forget, there was a lot of trouble that week with the national anthem. The Steelers took more heat than any other team in the NFL the week that everybody was doing the stuff with the anthem, because all of the teams stayed in the tunnel except one player. And they had to address that. Not once, not twice. 3 separate press conferences from Tomlin to Roethlisberger as the captain of the team to Villanova, the guy that, Villanova, I always butcher his name, to him talking about it. That was a distraction. And then Antonio Brown throwing the meltdown on the sidelines. Ben threw for 300 yards last week. He had 5 interceptions. 2 of them were tipped. 3 of them were bad plays. Totally on him.
Just a little comeback here. Ben threw 5 more interceptions last week than Alex Smith has thrown all season. I'm not playing Kansas City anything other than 4 or less. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me right now that Kansas City is only 1 point better than the Pittsburgh Steelers? I don't buy that. Kansas City is much better than that. And if Pittsburgh loses this game, can you say that this is a team we can make money betting against the rest of the season?
If Pittsburgh loses this game, they've got big problems. This is the game they need to show up. This is it. And history has told me they've responded, and until Ben doesn't respond, then I'm going to still believe in Ben, and Big Ben we trust, but until he doesn't, I'm going to do that. And unfortunately, Andy Reid, until he does win that big game and covers a spread, I got to go with what history has shown me. He's not a good favorite. And if you've blindly just bet the road team in Kansas City, I don't have the stat in front of me. I wish I did. Ralph had sent me that stat a few weeks ago. It's over 60%. Blindly taking the road team in Kansas City games. And it makes sense because they play so many tight games. The dog is going to be the road team, and you take the dog in those situations. So my best bet's Pittsburgh. If you want, I've already got one lunch bet this week. We on for another one?
Sure.
All right, I'm eating good next week, guys. I'm taking Pittsburgh as my best bet, and that is my best bet. And don't forget, guys, $2 Tuesday. We give you one best bet from a capper. We generally pick a capper that's running hot at the time and offer his best bet for $2. It's a great way to introduce yourself to a new capper or just to the site. It's just $2 every Tuesday at Wager Talk. Enjoy the games this week. We'll be back next week with more here at wagertalk.com.